Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 12 of JuJutsu Kaisen, and yeah. I stayed away from spoilers. I had to work today, and so all day I was like, I'm not gonna see spoilers. I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna eat some dinner, and then I'm gonna sit down and watch the show, and it's gonna be fine. But my friend Wu on Patreon was like, so, JuJutsu Kaisen. I was like, no, I've not seen it yet. So, I don't know, but it's just a bad scene. Like last episode, so like it's setting up some trauma because I love Junpei, I love Yuji, and their friendship last episode developing was so good. And you could tell that Yuji was such a great influence in Junpei's life, and then it's like, we can't have nice things, in stories like these. So his mom getting just disembodied by this curse, and Mahito saying that it's Sakuna that literally did it is going to come up because you know that Sakuna is going to come in here and just be an issue. Because eventually, I'm like, it's not happened yet. So I'm like, eventually Sakuna is going to take over Yuji's body, right? And Junpei is going to think, oh, I've been lied to this whole time. This jujitsu sorcerer is actually a curse user. And it's like, no, that's not how it is. And I'm just, it's like Mahito is setting up all this just stupid, pointless drama between these two, and I just want them to be friends and watch movies, but we can't have that. I am glad Kento's okay. In hindsight, he seems like he's gonna make it fine, but and I don't like the idea that Mahito can transfigure souls, and he's on top of this building. Yuji's there. Although, granted, Geto says that they want Yuji alive. They don't want to do anything to Yuji. But I'm like, I don't want him to do anything to Junpei either. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm really, really sad. Really, really sad. So, for some reason, that just like, I had the episode paused here. And for some reason, it like, instantly pulled up episode 2. And I was like, no. So, I tend to ramble when I don't want to start things or I don't want to end things. And right now I'm afraid of the hurt that's going to happen with this episode. So it's like, why not? So let's just jump in, shall we? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and go for it. So anyway, we are going to start episode 12, To You Someday, of JuJutsu Kaisen here in 3, 2, 1... Let's go. What? What the hell? Episode. Oh my gosh. So we're halfway through the season. The OP was a lie. The cake was a lie. And okay. Oh my gosh. Just, turning off the sound and going back through this. Oh my god. That makes me so mad that the OP was like, here's all this happiness that's never gonna happen. It's like, or unless, maybe he's not dead. Oh my gosh. So I like, going back through here, I like that Kento, our adult of adults, leaves this guy Juno in charge of these. And there's more cursed humans. So I guess he went back to Mahito's lair. Yeah, he's gone back to the lair to deal with the other humans that have been turned into curses, the other experiments. So that's where he went back to deal with it and noticed that they were gone. And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, don't do that. Don't do it. But of course, and I love that little light, the light of his glasses trickling out. And Ino, not Juno, Ino-kun. And he's like, I'll put in a good word if you do these things. Ichiji doesn't stop him. So I guess he didn't think he was fast enough. But, oh my gosh. Just the friendship between Yuji and Junpei. And they even added him to the OP. But just the friendship between them. And even after fighting, he's like, look, I don't know why you're like this. I need to know what's up. So just tell me. And the idea that he was given this cursed ability from Mahito that's poison. It's like, And the scariest thing about it is that Junpei, the curse started out as this little tiny jellyfish, and he's like, oh, it'll just keep giving more and more energy. So the more rage he felt, the more it like corrupted and poisoned his body, the bigger the jellyfish became until it was just huge. And it's so tragic because you know that Junpei is just, he's had this horrible situation. He's just lost his mom. Nobody understands what he's going through, and it's just, he's feeding all this emotion. And Mahito's words are just feeding the fire. They're just fueling it. This like nihilistic view that nothing matters. And that would definitely be something he'd grab a hold on in this moment, because that would make him feel less, feel less about losing his mom. The fact that if he's like, oh, well, it's just meaningless anyway. Oh, gosh. And then him giving him the curse technique. So that's interesting. So curse techniques can be given. So I'm wondering if that means they can give them to other people too. It's kind of like, Yuji's a vessel, and that's how he got the powers. But does that mean that curses can give them to other humans then, I guess? It's just, oh my gosh, it's so sad. That moment where they're just sitting there, like, kneeling in front of each other and talking. And he's like, you just come to JuJutsu Kaisen. And at that moment, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to... I thought that Mahito was going to tell him, like, oh, yeah, yeah, sure. Or I thought Mahito would let him get away. I thought Mahito would let Junpei go with Yuji and go to Jujutsu Tech, and Yuji would make this big speech about why he should go. That would be the typical way it would go down. But this show, as we've established, has done some very interesting things with shonen tropes. And that whole mole situation where the person goes undercover to infiltrate the division, that's what would normally happen. I could see another shonen, but not this one. And then, oh God, and Yuji being like, we can find whoever cursed your mom and make sure that they get their due. Like, we're going to be buddies and team up for this. And the coloring, the animation in this episode and from the preview next episode looks so good. And this idea of the bad person. And that's when Mahito's like, you're no longer good to me anymore because you figured out that I'm the bad person. And it's like, oh no. And just, this was so hard. So hard when Mahito's like, I can't use you anymore, so I'm just going to kill you. And Yuji has to deal with that. Oh God, no, not cool, not cool at all. And making him fight him, and then Sakuna's like, I'm not gonna solve your problem. Now Mahito makes up a good point. Sakuna acts like he can't heal others. It's just himself. He can heal Yuji because Yuji is a vessel, but he can't seem to heal others. And he just kind of, because he's a curse, he just pokes fun at the idea that, yeah, I'm not gonna heal your friend. No. But in reality, it's like he probably actually can't, and he just didn't want to admit it. And Mahito's strategy, the idea that I'm just going to transfigure everybody until you get mad enough to have Sakuna come out and do what I want, is terrifying. And I don't want that to happen. But man, Yuji's conviction of you just, oh God, it's like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood with the Chimera. That whole bit where he was like, why? It was like, Edward. I'm like, I can't do it. I couldn't do it in Full Metal. I can't do it here. It's like, no. And that shot of all four of them, like what might have been Junpei with Fushiguro and Nobara and him. But it ends up, Junpei dies because his body can't take it anymore. Oh my God. And they draw Mahito like so cutesy in that moment when he's laughing and stuff. He's so cutesy, but then he's like grotesque in other shots. It's weird how they animate him, but he's like a patchwork there. And then Yuji's just like, I'm going to kill you. And it's like, oh yeah, his rule doesn't apply to this curse. Oh my gosh. So it's interesting that his powers actually can affect Mahito, and Mahito can't affect him. That whole issue, like the fight between the two of them was crazy, but that moment where he tries to get into Sakuna, and Sakuna's like, hey, what you doing? You trying to invade me, baby Gurse? Because Sakuna's been around for thousands of years, and you dare touch my soul. And yeah, Yeah, telling Mahito, being like, look, I'm going to let you get by this one time, but there's not going to be a second time. You're on my turf. And the way they animated him, he looks so serious and scary. It's like, oh, so good. I'm worried, y'all, about Kento next episode. I'm real worried because Kento's got a plan. But going back to this preview, I'm going to be real honest. I'm going to pause on this preview shot. Yeah, let's make sure. Yeah, the animation for the next episode looks so dang good. And I'm like, look, we're going to slow this down so I can't slow it down. Alright, but just looking at the next episode, like it looks like he's got his hands on a soul. I'm hoping it's not Kento's. I'm like, please don't be Kento's. I don't want it to be Kento's. Mahito in some of these shots looks terrifying, like he's just unhinged. And Kento's like, what? Sakuna looks scary. Oh my gosh. I'm like, and the episode's called Tomorrow. I don't want anything bad to happen to Kento on top of Junpei too. I'm like, show, don't do this to me. We're halfway through the season. Don't do this. Oh my gosh, you guys. This show hasn't missed yet for me. Every episode's been so good, but I almost cried. It's rare for me to get invested into characters like this, and to like, I think the last time I cried in anime was Shorter's death in Banana Fish. Hope I didn't spoil that for you. Hope I didn't spoil that for anybody. Spoilers. That's the last time watching that I've cried. Now, granted, as I'm recording this, I'm not all the way through Banana Fish, so that may happen again. But, dang. This was hard. If Junpei's dead, that's going to be so sad and tragic. Like, just... And I was curious. I kept thinking in the back of my head, because I've thought for the last couple episodes, based on the opening, that Junpei would try to get into Jujutsu Tech. And I was like, how's that dynamic going to work with him and Fushiguro Nobara there? Guess we don't have to find out now. Oh man, guys. Yuji's character is probably one of my favorite protagonists of any new anime that I've watched, because he's so relatable, but he's also got such like a kind, genuine spirit to him. But he's so relatable in wanting to do well and go by his promise to his grandpa. But then Mahito, man, I'm genuinely afraid of the next episode for Kento, because I mean, like, that's been one of his mentors, and I'm like, if he loses him on top of Junpei, I don't know, show, what are you doing? I do like the fact that we've spent the last, like, 6 episodes of Yuji, like, on his own little adventures, kind of growing and developing as a Jujutsu sorcerer, and I feel like that's a really smart way to give his character development, so that when he eventually, because he's a protagonist, let's be honest, when he eventually does meet up with Fushiguro Nobara again, they're going to be like, man, Yuji, you're so different. And Yuji's like, let me tell you about these last couple episodes. Let me tell you what I've been doing while you guys have been playing with pandas and training for some silly exchange event, tournament arc, whatever. Let me tell you about the deep shit that I've been in. This show continues to exceed expectations for me and subvert so many tropes, and I kind of love it for it. But almost got me this episode, Jujutsu. You almost got me. I don't know if I can go back and rewatch this, though, because that was just really hard. Next episode looks amazing animation-wise. Probably going to destroy my soul again. But, yeah. So I'm curious to know your thoughts below. Please let me know. Please no spoilers, obviously, if you're a manga reader. But I hope you all enjoyed this reaction, this episode. This was rough. I'm not sure I'm ready for episode 13. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon with more Jujutsu Kaisen.